Coming up, Chris Jericho teases a WWE star to AEW, a WWE team are getting repackaged, and an update on Brock Lesnar versus Matt Riddle.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Super News. I'm Ollie Davis. EC3 hasn't had the best 2020. In fact, he didn't have the best 2019 either, debuting on Raw in January in a high-profile victory over Dean Ambrose, but then being buried by Vince McMahon because fans were cheering the soon-to-be leaving Ambrose instead of the randomly called-up former NXT star. Who could have foreseen that? Far from his 2018 highs in NXT, where he even wrestled in a Dave Meltzer-approved 5-star rated match, and his main event run in Impact Wrestling, EC3 was quickly slotted into the 24/7 title picture. McMahon then reportedly abandoned pairing EC3 with his best friend in real life, Drake Maverick. At live events, and in late September, Carter unfortunately suffered a concussion and he's been out of action ever since. Interestingly, just last week, it came out that WWE hadn't just given up on EC3 as a wrestling character, but also as a legal entity, with the company abandoning their trademark application on the EC3 name. It's potentially such a frustrating situation. EC3 has found himself partying with the competition. AEW Le Champion Chris Jericho has posted, "Great chat with EC3 tonight in Orlando. Big things coming in the future for this talented brother. All Elite Wrestling." AEW already have an EC3. Before we get on with the rest of the episode, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to this video's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Not every RPG game has to be cutesy and cartoony. Judo kicks are cutesy and cartoony, because Raid Shadow Legends will take you to a world of dark fantasy and realism. Shadow Legends is all about building your dream team of legends. I've gone for my trusty Gaelic, but you might prefer Swordy Claws or Demon Finn Balor from when he dressed up as a pumpkin that one time. You can unlock more using the portal, upgrade characters through sacrificing weaker ones, and most importantly, battle! Fight clan bosses for awards, in the arena against other players, and my favourite part, in the campaign mode to increase your team's XP, which has a really cool fully voiced story. You can play Raid on mobile and PC, where you can find me under the nickname Wonder Ollie. Download Raid using WrestleTalk's special links in the video description below, and if you're a new player, you'll get 100,000 silver and the free rare champion, Slasher. All this treasure will be waiting for you in the inbox, but only for the next 30 days. So download Raid now using those links, because it also really helps support us here at WrestleTalk. The big things Jericho is teasing is most likely ECW to A3 But Carter's WWE contract apparently isn't up until next January. Perhaps he could be asking for his release soon, or this could be just the latest example of WWE stars flirting with AEW on social media to get themselves a better deal from McMahon, like Randy Orton expertly did late last year. Oddly, Matt Hardy, who is also speculated to be leaving WWE for AEW imminently, seemingly teased EC3 will be coming with him, tweeting, "I'm a fan of EC3. I understand some fans love and prefer performers that offer top-notch in-ring work more than anything. The entertainment character stuff is crucial as well. EC3 is great when he's utilized to his strengths. I'd want him on my roster." EC3 isn't the only WWE star who's been missing from TV recently though. Despite being a central fixture in WWE's relatively new women's tag division as one of the promotion's only proper lady teams, even winning the tag team titles at WrestleMania 35 and holding them all the way until August, the Iconics have disappeared from TV and live events in recent weeks, with their last appearance losing to Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair on the 18th of November episode of Monday Night Raw. Instead, they've been forced to watch on from social media, with Peyton Royce replying to a forlorn fan, "We miss you too, tongue out emoji," praising last Friday's four-way on SmackDown with the tweet, "This was great. Congrats ladies, hand clapping emoji." Carmella, Alexa Bliss, Naomi and Dana Brooke, and most recently posting a topless photo to Instagram with the caption, "Freedom is a state of mind." The Iconics. I've lost my train of thought. As usual, Big Daddy Dave Meltzer has provided a potential reason why they've been removed from TV. I asked about them a few weeks ago. A decision was made to take them off TV, maybe repackaging, but the idea was they'd be back. If true, it's a weird strategy to take, as while their in-ring wrestling was mediocre, the Iconics' act was fantastic, with them being great on the mic, getting over the iconic catchphrase, and just being generally obnoxious heels. So why don't we all hop aboard the train to the speculation station for another potential reason? Whoop whoop! Over the last 6 months, a pattern has emerged of WWE talent seeing their on-screen roles diminish around the same time as the controversial actions of their partners. Naomi disappeared from TV for half a year after her real-life husband, Jimmy Uso, was arrested for a DUI. Renee Young, the real-life wife of AEW's Jon Moxley, has found herself hosting WWE Backstage for Fox in recent months, hardly featuring at all on actual WWE programming, despite being the best backstage interviewer the company has. And now Peyton Royce has been off from WWE for 3 months, even though the company needed all the female talent it could get for the Women's Royal Rumble, and she just so happens to be the real-life wife of AEW's Shawn Spears. The notable exception to this theory is NXT champion Rhea Ripley. Damn it, I mean Adam Cole! Stupid, confusing title name change! And his AEW girlfriend Britt Baker, with both of their pushes seemingly unaffected. Although NXT appears to have different rules to the main roster. Different rules, like Matt Riddle apparently being allowed to do whatever he wants. Here's a picture of Keith Lee arm wrestling Buzz Lightyear because he's amazing segue. Matt Riddle and Brock Lesnar reportedly had a verbal altercation shortly before the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, where Lesnar essentially told Riddle to stop calling him out on social media. In what I'm sure was a totally unrelated coincidence, Triple H's teased showdown between Brock and Matt didn't happen at all in the Men's Rumble match, and Riddle was eliminated in about a minute by Baron Corbin. Later that week, WWE officials held a backstage meeting telling NXT talent to not call out main roster stars on social media or in interviews unless they're approved first, which several wrestlers apparently sniggered at because, cough, Matt Riddle, cough, this whole meeting is just to address you, cough. So over the weekend, Matt Riddle called out Brock Lesnar at the NXT Live event in Las Vegas. Cutting a promo while supporting himself on a wonderfully awkward-looking fan, Riddle said, "I have never stopped. I kept training. I knew the goal. The dream was right in front of me, and I'm not gonna stop. This is just the beginning. 12 years ago it started, and 12 years from now I'll still be going. I guarantee you this, Las Vegas, the bro retires Brock Lesnar." Thanks for your support on Patreon, Luke's favourite fan, the one, the only, the awesome Bubba. Riddle's Lesnar call-out is precisely what has apparently gotten him backstage heat with the most important guy in the company, Vince McMahon. With the Wrestling Observer writing Vince sees Riddle as an outside guy, whatever that means, who has no respect for the hierarchy of the business by challenging Goldberg and Lesnar, promising to retire the latter and once calling the former absolutely the worst wrestler in the business. But potentially in a move against the main roster and Vince, Meltzer is now reporting NXT has given Riddle permission to follow up on the Brock Lesnar stuff, as seen in his challenge at the Las Vegas live event. This is possibly an example of NXT heads who seemingly see a lot of value in Riddle and his natural charisma going against the wishes of Vince McMahon and the main roster. While the big Lesnar retirement match is possibly a long way away, at least Riddle is earning that dollar in the meantime, with Fightful reporting how last September's move of NXT from the WWE Network to the USA Network has resulted in numerous third-brand wrestlers getting raises and new contracts. Fightful writes that while the money wasn't on par with the main roster on Raw or SmackDown, the deals are substantial compared to what talent was making before. These new agreements came with 3-year terms, tying up key wrestlers for the long-term war with AEW, but crucially, not everyone signed them. Fightful don't yet know who has and hasn't committed to these higher money contracts with WWE, but they did report over the weekend that Tainara Conti walked out of NXT after what's believed to be a financial disagreement, and her locker has been cleared, suggesting she not only hasn't agreed a new deal, but she's done with the company entirely. Her husband issued the "everything's fine" statement. "All we can say is that Tainara is still under contract with WWE." Fightful ranks alongside the Wrestling Observer, PW Torch, PW Insider, and others in terms of wrestling news story track records, and up until recently, that included the almost spotless record of the very reliable WrestleVotes on Twitter. But following their report, more wellness policy suspensions were coming, with one of them potentially being Samoa Joe. They've issued a retraction. Apologies for that suspension story last week. Got the info from a very reliable source, although they seem to have got this one wrong. It happens. That time of year where news gets screwy. No excuse though, we strive to provide valid, informative news. This was below that. Firstly, it's always great to see sites publicly admit when they're wrong, and if anything, that makes them a whole new kind of trustworthy, as they're willing to own up to their mistakes. Secondly, however, this could be part of a much larger story. In recent months, WWE has apparently been trying to close its very leaky ship, even telling NXT talent last week to not talk to quote-unquote dirt sheets. One way to uncover who's leaking your information is to feed incorrect stories to various suspects and then see if that comes out on the internet. It's a double win when it works. You both uncover the stooge and discredit those reporting the stories. WrestleVotes might have just had one of their most reliable sources rumbled, so it'll be interesting to see how their reporting continues from here. Adam Blompier made his return to lists yesterday with 10 WWE vs NXT Dream matches we've yet to see. Click the video on the right to get hyped for The Fiend vs Velveteen Dream, yes please, and support WrestleTalk and install Raid using our links in the video description below, as it's a great game and it really helps us out. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.